Okay, so people have been asking me to look into the connection between Jennie and Lisa from Blackpink. I was like, why? Like, they're homies, they're girlies, they're gonna be friends? Listen, I don't know where I've been or if you guys are picking up a vibe that I didn't, because when I pulled the energy on the cards, I was like, like it was kind of like, aw, like a little bit. Like, I was just like, no, they're friends. There seemed like there was tension. You'll see what I mean when we get into it. Of course, everything I say is all alleged, for entertainment purposes only, and with peace and love. Okay. On the left will be Jennie, on the right will be Lisa, and this is the energy in between. YG, or a powerful man, but that's usually the card I get when I talk about YG. Lisa showed up as the 8 of Cups in the upper position, which is walking away from something emotional. Kind of seems like it's walking away from like Jennie's energy, but it also could be Blackpink as a whole. Or it's like it literally seems like she's walking away from something having to do with Blackpink. On Jennie's side, she got the 7 of Cups, which is like coming to reality, like the dissolution of illusions. So like starting to see things clearly. It could be like disappointment, like she thought their relationship was one way for the longest time and then realized it was different, like it wasn't as close or as strong. Her song Zen keeps popping in my mind for some reason. Kind of seems like there is something having to do with like a powerful man who's between them. I guess maybe it doesn't have to be YG, but it seems like it's related to their careers, and like there's a powerful man that has gotten between the two. Like in my mind's eye, I see like a tug of war between them, and then one of them pulls out scissors and like cuts the rope. Jennie showed up as a Wheel of Fortune, which is sometimes it can also talk about changes. It can talk about good luck and good fortune. It also is just like the changing in the Wheel of Time. Lisa showed up as the 4 of Wands in the reverse position, which can be like a minor setback or disappointment. The Strength in the middle, their bond isn't strong. Me reading it literally, but the energy doesn't seem close. If anything, it seems kind of like a little like passive aggressive again, kind of like good job, like I'm so happy for you. You're like not. I love both of them equally. I don't have a horse in this race. For Lisa though, literally it's like a minor setback. That's what I keep hearing when I think of this. It's like there's a minor setback. This is a minor setback. That might have to do with her album. It might have to do with something that she wanted and it didn't go her way though. Jennie is literally like good fortune. It's sort of like worked out for me. Like I just see her kind of shrugging. I'm like, well, that's how it worked out. Like Jennie's energy is a little bit more like low key, I think, or like nonchalant almost. 10 is like the 10 of Cups on Jennie's side is the unhappily ever after. That could be Blackpink and there being like maybe issues around that. It's just, if this sometimes can indicate family, but it can also indicate things like family. So it could be friends, it could be if you're very close to your coworkers, or some sort of a group and there's disharmony. Lisa showed up as the 4 of Cups, which is like contemplation. It can also be like being offered something and like, should I take it? Should I leave it? I see this because I did a reading on Lisa with her maybe boyfriend, Frederick Arnold, and her energy felt very contemplative, like she was lost in thought a lot. I think Lisa's really thinking about her future, like where she wants to go. You have to imagine, if you're Lisa, you have a lot of opportunities at your fingertips. You're connected to one of the richest families in the world with like, their fashion empire. She's hot, you know, like I think she's labeled like the Princess of Thailand or something. She was in White Lotus recently. Like she has a lot of doors open, and I think she's trying to be very strategic about what she does with her career, especially because her album maybe didn't get the reception that she wanted. That's not like I think for a lot of artists that would be like the end of their career, but it's not for Lisa because number one, she's in Blackpink, so she's been in the industry for a while, but she also has a lot of different support, you know. Ace of Swords, for some reason like Jennie seems like what's a word? I don't like this word, but the word that keeps coming up is powerless. But I don't mean that in the sense that Jennie feels powerless, but it's more like, you know, there's like a situation and like you want to improve it or help it out, but you don't know how, so you're just like, I'm just gonna give it up to God. Like that's kind of her. She's just sort of like, there's nothing else I can do. That's her energy. It honestly seems almost like Lisa's pulling away and Jennie's like, I don't know, there's nothing more I can do to like rectify the situation. Their connection doesn't seem strong or really that friendly, but it's not like enemies either. It's not like they're overtly fighting, but it seems like there's something that they're supposed to say, or I don't know. Ace of Swords though, to me though, this is sort of like, be careful. When I look at this card, it's like, watch your tongue, watch what you say, be careful. The Ace of Swords is usually more of like a card of like new opportunities and beginnings when it comes to communication. It can also sometimes talk about honesty, but because it's a sword, something about it is sort of like, it's a double-edged sword, like be careful what you say, almost like they don't trust each other, which I guess they are kind of like competitors now. I mean, like they are in Blackpink, of course, which operates as a unit, but they're also kind of in the same field, you know? Like if there can only be so many of like one type of girl in pop music, they're vying for that spot, if you know what I mean. It's almost like which one of us is going to be the it girl. And if you're paying attention, Jennie's album did do a bit better than Lisa's, so it's sort of like, I won. And Lisa's like, no, you didn't. Like, that's what the energy is giving. I like both of them. I like both of their albums. Jennie showed up as a King of Swords in the reverse position. Okay, and Lisa showed up as a Judgment card in the reverse position, and this is the 10 of Wands in the middle, which is like bird head. It's so interesting because the King of Swords, you see the King of Swords, right? But there's like a sword right here, and the sword is like at a diagonal, which can sometimes be like somebody who is willing to do things not necessarily unethically, that's not what I'm trying to say, but it's sort of kind of willing to like bend the rules almost, or willing to like ask for help in like places you wouldn't necessarily expect. I also see Jennie, like, I like in my mindset, I see like as if her and Lisa are playing cards, which again is like a competitive thing to be doing. That's like, I don't know any card games. Poker, I don't know. And it's sort of like Jennie has her cards behind her back and she's like hiding them from Lisa. And she's like, you can't see? I don't have any cards. What are you talking about? It's kind of like that. She really doesn't trust Lisa. I don't know. I don't know why. I haven't read for them, like, just their relationship before. So it's like, I wish I could have, like, to see how it would have changed from, like, I don't know, like 2020 to now. For Lisa, having the Judgment in the reverse position is like a lack of awakening, or like stepping into reality. I kind of feel like maybe Lisa is not super aware of how Jennie feels, or just doesn't care. Both of them, I don't think, really talk that deeply. I could see them, like, having, like, superficial kind of friend chats, and it's like, oh, your album dropped, like, good job, like, wow, thank you so much, but it's not like getting into the nitty-gritty of things. And I think it's because it's not even like because you just don't enjoy each other. It's like, I really don't trust you. You're almost like an opponent now. Well, that's kind of sad. I see, like, so strongly, like, them just kind of like what are you doing, what are you doing? The 10 of Wands is like a burden, which to me kind of indicates that like Jennie is going to be the one that like extends an olive branch, because it just seems like, I mean, they're going to go on tour soon. It seems like there's a lot that's left unsaid, and it's sort of just like, I feel like Jennie's going to be the one that's going to be like, I don't know, like have a sit down before they go on tour and be like, so like, what's the tea between us? Because it seems like tension that's been unaddressed. That's kind of what the vibe is. I don't know if they've always been adversaries. I've never noticed that, but to be honest, like, I think I kind of sometimes live in like a delusional land where I'm like, yeah, everyone gets along. But I like, maybe they've always been this way. I don't know. 8 of Wands. I do feel like their album has influenced this a lot. Their albums have influenced this a lot. I think they just didn't realize how competitive this was going to feel. To like, also because their albums dropped like 2 business days apart from one another, you know what I mean? Like, they were so close together. Whereas like Rosé, it was like several months, you know, like she dropped around Christmas time, and then like there was a break, and then it's like we got the rest of the 3 like basically back to back to back, which of course makes it easier to compare them. Oh, maybe. Lisa showed up as the 3 of Cups in the reverse position, which is like a lack of community and merriment. I see this really strongly. I was dancing around it in the last video I did on Blackpink, and where I was talking about them going on tour, but it kind of seems like Lisa like is detached from the other 3 a little bit. Like, it would be if they're all wearing the same outfit and Lisa shows up, like if they were all like, okay, we're gonna wear pink today, and Lisa wears black, so she stands out. Something, I mean, not as obvious or as on the nose as that, but there's something like that where she's sort of like, I'm trying to like slowly inch away from being in Blackpink, so like I can be the Beyonce. I don't know, there's something about it. Or Lisa maybe is just less focused on the group. It doesn't have to be as like negative as that, but there's something about it where it's like Lisa doesn't want to directly say this to the others. Not that she has to or that they've asked, but it's interesting. The energy in between is the 8 of Pentacles, which is working at something. I think Jennie's working on maybe another album. Oh, I also feel like Jennie is trying to kind of like repair. There isn't an official leader in Blackpink, and that's true. They all have their different strengths, but I would say Jennie's kind of been the one to like help like facilitate the girls or round them up, or like in some way that Jennie has kind of always felt a little bit more like a leader. I think Jennie is very focused on her solo career, but she also wants Blackpink to succeed. Let's say Blackpink disbands in like 2029 or something. Up until 2029, like Jennie's like, we have to give this a fair shake. So it's sort of like she's wanting to get all the girls together and on the same page so they can have a good tour and a good comeback. That also like reflects, you know, the better Blackpink does, the better exposure all of them have. You know what I mean? So I could see that. I could also see that like low-key the internet turning on Jennie for some reason. You know, like, I think Jennie just kind of has bad luck with the internet, where it's like people will, even if she's not the problem, not saying either one is the problem, but even if she's not the problem, people will find a way. Like, to be like, look, like Jennie gave Lisa a dirty look while they were performing like Lovesick Girls or something like that. It's like, well, you don't know the full story, you know what I mean? I could see like people turning on her for some reason. It's like misplaced though. I think Jennie seems Jennie's energy seems chill. Like, she's like, I have a vision for myself as a soloist, but I'm still bound to Blackpink's contract. I'm going to try to make the best of that. I think she feels relatively satisfied with her career so far. I think she has bigger plans and aspirations. Lisa seems like like, she's just gunning. She's like, I want to be it. I want to be an it girl. I want to be the star. Like, I see, when I look at Lisa's pile, I see she wants to be Beyonce. She wants to be Taylor Swift. She wants to shoot right to, even if it's not necessarily in singing, but in some way an entertainer, she wants to be in everybody's faces. Jennie's kind of like, I'm just here. Like, she's just like, I'm just going to do what I do and see what happens. It's very funny. Their energies, I think, are very different right now. But again, it's not necessarily like Lisa is necessarily desperate. It's more just like she's not as focused, I would say. She's trying to find like her niche and to laser focus on that to become like a professional pro in it, you know? This is the losing of control. Yeah. I think Jennie has become a lot better, I think, at like not being as hard on herself. And that shows in how she interacts, I think. I think the other girls notice that as well, where Jennie is just not as like, it's not that she doesn't take things seriously, but it's more just like, she is not as bogged down by things anymore. And it's like, let's say they want to do like a song for their comeback and YG says no. I think before Jennie would be like in the group chat, like, fuck YG or whatever. Now she's like, he said no, like, let's move on. Like, she's more relaxed. I think she's able to roll with punches more. I think she's able to be more of a, have like solutions rather than focus on the problem. And I think that shows in like how she is in the world now. It's very healthy. Like, I think Jennie has become a lot healthier than she has for most of her life, because she's, I guess, maybe used to being hated. I think she's used to being criticized, and she's like, I know how to do this. I know how to handle this now. Lisa, though, is like, this is the star card, and in this case, it literally feels like celebrity. Like, I want to be a big star. That's literally it. I think that's maybe why she's so detached from Blackpink, is because it's like Blackpink, they all shine together, and she's like, I want to be the star. That's not she's detaching because she doesn't like Blackpink, but because she's like, how can I be the star? She's very business-minded right now. So it's like, we're less friends, we're more co-workers. Like, how are we going to get the most reward? How am I going to get the most reward? How am I going to get a promotion? You know what I mean? Very business babe. Huh. The energy in between is the Empress, which is like a lack of self-care. It can also be a lack of self-compassion. Sometimes I think for both of them, they've both been working pretty hard, like preparing an album. Like, because their last tour ended in like 2023, right? And then they spent all of 2024 working on their albums. So like, I see both of them not necessarily having the most compassion or space for one another. It's like, say what you're gonna say, or like let's get on with it. Their connection is not very warm. It's not very fuzzy. It's not very friendly. You know, there's a competitive edge going on. But this is good for Lisa, because this can be like collaboration. But you also notice how the sky is above these two as they're collaborating. I really strongly feel like Lisa wants to break out in some way. And I think this tour is going to look a little different than the last tours that they've done, because they all have their own body of work to contribute now. So they aren't going to be like covers, you know. Jennie showed up as the Four of Cups, which can be like the need to look into the past, but not. I actually feel like Jennie kind of reminisces about Blackpink in their trainee days, in their early days. I think Jennie's actually a bit sentimental, and she compares it to now, and it's like how things have changed, and like I think sometimes how she wishes that they could go back in time, maybe. The death, though, is like the need to change, the rebirth. I think both of them feel a little bit stuck in Blackpink. Not necessarily in Blackpink, but how Blackpink is currently. Because, you know, YG doesn't really like to change that much, and like they're very formulaic, I would say YG is. They're not necessarily the best at like experimenting with things, which you can kind of see in their newer groups, where it's like it's good, like Baby Monster's music is good, but it's also kind of predictable, and it's like, okay, you're gonna, you know, rap about like being hot or like super rich or something like that, you know? Like, it would be super unexpected for YG to pull out like some sort of folk song, you know? It'd be like, what are they doing? Whereas if Hybe did that, you'd be like, yeah, Hybe can sometimes be a little bit of a wild card with their groups. Anyway, I think they'd be a little bit stuck. Unfortunately, their connection, we haven't gotten any lovey-dovey cards. We haven't gotten any, you know, strong friendship cards. We haven't gotten any. I really don't think they're that close. It's very competitive. I guess I don't really know if it's sad or not, because I can't really compare it to like the energy before, because, you know, with K-pop, it's like you only really know what you see on the screen. But it seemed like before on the screen they were a lot closer, and things have changed. And I don't think either one is really that upset about it. They're like, well, we're on to different things now, aren't we? I wish both of them so much luck.